Too Naked to Hide, the podcast by Nina J. Kors. Chapter 8. Before lunch, the sharp sword and the suitcase.
What do you mean there are no alternatives? What does that mean? She was yelling. She leaned on her back, between the wall and the fridge, as if seeking refuge, her iPod still wrapped around her neck, a bag hanging over her shoulder, shoes still on. Her hands clasping the straps of her bag, her knuckles white. You must try, honey. You have to make it work. It's your marriage. What are you saying, Jacopo? What is that you are saying? She started to cry. Her tears ran down her face. He wished he could have stepped closer to her, hold her, keep her, but he couldn't. There was a family on the other side of the barricade, a husband and 2 small children. He had done enough damage for a lifetime. We've talked about it. We've written pages about it. We've talked it over again and again. It's the right choice. I've had my fill of right choices. She screamed every word. The words came gushing out from the depth of her stomach. He could almost see the muscles of her belly contracting. Her words came out of a dark place he had never seen. I have had my fill of reasonable and wise and right. All my life was built on the right thing to do. All my life, you understand? All of it. Then, in a sudden fit, she crumpled onto the floor. Jacopo gave a start. She bent her legs and just dropped to the ground, her back sliding down the wall. A dense, dark knot had wrapped around his bowels. It slowly rose upwards, filling his entire body, pressing his way into his bowels, his lungs, his heart, his throat. A thick, pitch-black stain. He clenched his jaws involuntarily and felt a cramp tighten his face. He stroked his face with a hand. It was the right thing to do. "Fuck you!" she sobbed. "Hey! Fuck you!" Jacopo slammed on the brakes. A guy riding his bike was crossing over the crosswalk, cut him in half. The traffic light glowed bright green. Jacopo's car swerved and came to a grinding halt. Jacopo felt in a daze and didn't even try to yell anything back. He inserted the first gear and quickly shifted to second and drove off. He entered the small town of Monselice. A fat stack of shit. That's what the day was. He parked the car a little ways from the office. He felt the need for a walk. The thing about Giovanna tormented him. Plus, he didn't have the smallest idea of what his father-in-law wanted from him. It couldn't have been anything work-related. It had been long since he had retired from practicing the law. The last minor hassles with Rossini had all been settled a year ago. In some way or other, that asshole Rossini was always in the way, even the year before. And it couldn't be anything regarding Giovanna either. His father-in-law had taken their separation as an unavoidable debacle. A mess his daughter had leaped into, and that he had to fix with a handful of cash. Okay, not exactly a handful, Jacopo thought. 100,000 euro to get rid of me. 100 grand to feel free to live without me getting in the way. 100,000 to make her feel strong enough to make him pack up his things and leave. Take your things and go. Leave today, please. And close the door behind you. My head is killing me. That's what Giovanna had told him one early January afternoon. There was nothing to do. She was collected, composed, talking with the same nonchalance she would have used to say, "On your way out, don't forget to take the garbage down, please." He wasn't quite sure why, but he had quickly realized that any attempt would have been futile. The battle was lost. The war was over, and he could only retrocede in unconditional surrender. For 2 days and 2 nights they had argued non-stop. They had thrown past mistakes in each other's face. They had vowed their full understanding for each other's position. They had declared their hatred for each other in a mad seesaw of uncontrollable emotions. The unbearable urge to tear everything apart and then to travel in time and fix all the things that now seemed to be forever broken. A series of downfalls that they had against each other, which now led to nothing but a tired and dreadful void, a deep ravine they both rolled down into, helplessly. They had made promises, yelled accusations, asked for forgiveness, and again the rage would rise and gorged. Things still needed to be clarified. Everything seemed impossible to remedy. Loathing and fatigue had penetrated between them and carried the awareness that the rope had been pulled too much and far too long. It was now worn, and there was nothing they could do to fix it. 2 days and 2 nights locked in their bedroom, having taken the kids to see Grandpa with the excuse that Giovanna was feeling sick because of the flu. 2 days of psychological massacre in a frantic search for a foothold to climb back up. But the road behind them had crumbled and collapsed. Then she had a long phone call with her father while Jacopo had gone down to a deli to get something to eat, had found an endless line of hungry people, and had spent the whole time swearing muttered insults for the time wasted to buy 2 measly slices of cold veal in tuna sauce they probably weren't going to eat either. But back home, the fridge was empty, and for 48 hours they had only munched Sicilian nuggets extracted from Christmas baskets, chewed with rage, dressed with the bile that couldn't get out but insisted on lingering around their liver, injecting eyes and bodies with livid bitterness. When he came back from the deli, something impossible to fix had occurred. Giovanna was still talking to her father, and he heard her close the conversation in a hurry as soon as he walked in the room with the greasy deli bag still in his hands. Giovanna was lying on the bed, her face pale and wearing no makeup, grey rings under her eyes, lips contracted. Her eyes were glowing a fierce, lucid, clean light, and that sharp sword that had sliced through them. "Take your things and leave, please." Jacopo had sat beside her. He had frantically searched for words to convince her, but his mind was empty. There was an abyss gaped open between them now, He had gotten up from the edge of the bed, where she lay down, claiming a splitting headache, and went to the bathroom. The shelf over the sink was filled with makeup and medicines. Giovanna had a passion for medicines. Their house was full of them. Drugs for children and adults, paracetamol, antiemetic tablets, anti-bruise gels, headache pills, heartburn capsules, weight loss preparations, draining concoctions, all bio-maple drinks for a flat stomach, analgesic and antipyretic drugs, dry cough syrup, wet cough syrup, intestinal flora potions, backache pills, articulation pain relieving remedies, magnesium for muscle tone, energy drinks, herbal anti-anxiety pastilles, antidepressant homeopathic remedies to cure Mattia's lack of appetite, remedies to cure Enrico's excess of appetite, treatments against Giovanna's asserts excess body fat, against the flu prevention drugs, immunity strengthening tables, skin improving capsules, anti-cellulite concoctions. The house was cluttered with medications. In the kitchen there was even a flower-patterned box filled to the brim with bottles and cardboard boxes, and the lid was encumbered by as many boxes and bottles and sachets and packets of all sorts. In the bathroom, he took in the bleak spectacle of the hoard of bottles, the assortment of boxes and flasks, and inspected the vast array of make-up products. At least 6 varieties of mascara, longer lashes, very black, extreme length and separation, fake lash effect, extra volume, waterproof, color volume, powders, light ochre, dark ochre, spring rose, bronze, matte, glimmer, and blush boxes, golden and glossy enamel, sparkling like jewels, and lipsticks, dozens of lipsticks, all in the same pastel pink hue, and hand lotions, at least 4, night and days face creams, moisturizing lotions for neck and décolleté, eye contour treatments, limp pumping gels, mattifying prepping lotions to apply under day creams, food ointments, knees lotions. Were special lotions just for the knees? He asked himself, astonished. And conditioners, shampoos, and everything was colorful, lively, sweet-scented, a jumble of drugs and make-up, everything lined up like an army of tin soldiers, like the regiments he disposed in net ranks over the cliff of the sofa backrests, with cars in hideout under pillows, and tanks at shooting range on the table, and it took him a while to set everything out, but then his mother would walk in and make him put everything away, even before he had the time to order fire, before the battle would even start, because that was coming home. And what would he say if he saw all those trinkets and toys all over the living room sofa? And he would be left with Big Jim still in his hand before he could shoot a single bullet and wipe out the whole army. If only his mother had left him the time to engage in battle, if only his father had been less stern and allowed him once, even just once, to leave everything where it was. His Big Jim would have fought the mother of all battles after dinner, a mind-blowing feat, crushing every attack. He never had the time to fight that battle. His mother would take a large box and floor the entire army with a single stroke of her hand, soldiers rolling down into the tin box, defeated. His wife has just told him to pack up and leave, and he was locked in the bathroom gazing at makeup. The fact was, he didn't know where else he could go. Hello, I was happy to see you. Sometimes it feels that to just see you would be enough. Then I realize how mistaken I am. Have a good day. Good morning, my love. I'm trying to convince my furniture that for now we can have you as queen of this house, but that your smile will sooner or later bring back the joy that only you can dispense. I miss you. Oh, come on, Jacopo. Tell me the whole thing again, with the ties. The what? About the suitcases. All of your suitcases. You just gloat at my misery, huh? Jacopo took the tall flute and set the gold and white wine circling with a slight movement of his hand. He looked at her from above the rim of the glass. As he inhaled the fresh bouquet coming forth from the wine, anticipating the faintly bitter aftertaste that would soon tickle his taste buds. He took a sip and put the glass down. She had eaten almost everything in her plate and sat there with elbows on the table, her chin propped on her hands. She had placed the silverware neatly in parallel near her plate, were laid a few salad leaves and slices of cheese. She had slowly wiped her lips with a kerchief and had placed that near the plate too. Jacopo understood that she was done eating and felt satisfied. Her dark eyes looked at him with intensity, and he wished he could sink into those eyes, plunge to their depth, and see what lay buried down at the bottom, and grazed with his eyes her long neck and part of her round, creamy white shoulders peeking through the wide neck of her shirt. All right. So, Francesca the dimwit, Alessandra the slut, the vapid Roberta, Patrizia the bitch, the idiot Eva, and of course Giovanna. No adjectives there. No, better no. But maybe. She looked at him, amused. Yes, I've got a couple of adjectives in mind, actually. But if you want the story of the suitcases, and then we can talk about something fun. Oh, you're right, I'm all ears. She kept looking at him, still and focused. He was holding his hands in mid-air, counting to 7. He lowered them and sat back. His plate was empty. So, Francesca, the dimwit, broke up with me as we sat on the low-rising wall in front of our school. We had just graduated. She said I was childish and my personality was plagued by hang-ups. Then she got up and left me there as I sat, speechless. And the only thing I could think of was my big gym, and what the hell does it mean that I am childish and plagued by hang-ups? I'm still trying to make sense of it, but I am afraid that she was right, and above all, I still can't grasp the association between my big gym and Francesca. Yes, but there's no suitcase. Well, metaphorically there was. We were still young. Just think, I was still thinking about my big gym. And then, Alessandra? Oh, yes, Alessandra, the slut. You can check my website, www.toonaked.me. Translation from Italian by Iris Cartia. Original music by Massimo Moretti for Maxmore Music. Post-production editing by Gina Lee. All mistakes are mine. If you want to see pictures of making of and life in Italy, please follow me, Nina J. Course, on Instagram and LinkedIn.